I love gardening books, and there's a new book out there. I'm with author Maria Zampini. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. And you know, this is a great book, and it's like, I'm a wordy too, and a garden person, but it's like, it's so nice because it's garden terms. And so, and how to understand them. So how did you figure this out? How did you come to the idea, I need to write a book about that?
Well, Garden-pedia is something that I've had in the back of my mind for probably 20 years, and finally it came to life. I grew up in the nursery industry. We would hire people who had no background in horticulture, and they would always ask questions of what certain terms meant. And I always thought, I should have that a part of the employee manual, but it just never happened. And then as I began to write stories for consumer gardening magazines, I would catch myself writing some technical term that in the industry we might know, but the average gardener wouldn't. And how do I explain it to them in very simple conversational terms?
Ah, that's so true.
And then really I partnered with Pam Bennett, who's of the Ohio State University. She runs the Master Gardener program, and she pointed out to me, she says, you know, Maria, there's no true textbook for any of the Master Gardener programs. And she said if I was to write one, this is what I would do. So we set about coming up with a book, like I said, that's very conversational in tone, that it gives you a one-liner of here's what this term means, but then in most cases a picture to back it up.
Nice.
And or a little bit more description of why it's something they need to know.
So give us an example. What's an easy one that maybe we all know, or maybe we'll learn something?
Well, as you and I were talking, deadheading is something. We just think, oh, hey, we're going to go deadhead today. Well, if you've never gardened before, how would you know? You know? So it really what that means is going to a plant, a bloom that's finishing, that's past its prime, and if you trim that flower off, it will continue to bloom more.
Right.
So you want to deadhead, take the old off and in with the new.
Right. And you know, to someone not in the industry or not a real new gardener, they wouldn't know that. It would be like so confusing, and it's such a simple thing to do. And we love doing it. I mean, we love going in the garden and playing.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. Another one was thug. I have a young lady that works for me that's a master gardener, and she says, well, thug is one I never heard before. And you know, you don't want someone to think it's some garden plant that's going to beat you up. It's just one that can be a little more aggressive in the garden.
Right, right. And another good thing to know, because you don't want those in your garden if you have a small space garden. So you want to stay away from those. So knowing those terms really can help so much. Maria, we talked about who would use this book, a new person, master gardeners. Who else do you think could use and be really informed by this book?
Sure. Not only is this great for not just the new gardener or a little bit of experience, I have people in the industry who are experienced people coming to me and say, wow, this is a training manual for my staff at a garden center. Or I had a landscape designer come to me and say, you know, I'm always trying to explain something to my customer, and this gives me a succinct way to do that. So it's really for all demographics across the board.
Oh, that is true. And really, all of us veterans, new people, we can always learn something, because
and there's
our memories
words in there that people don't know, that they've said, I didn't know what that meant.
Right, and you're too embarrassed to ask. So really, you could look it up then.
That's right.
So where can we find this book?
Sure, locally you can actually find this at Powell's Books.
Oh, I love that bookstore.
Okay, but then of course at Barnes & Noble, Amazon, any of your independent bookstores.
Or you can go to gardentime.tv and we'll click you over to where you can pick up this book and get it in your home in your hot little hands. Thank you so much, and thanks for writing this book.
Oh, thank you.